Welcome to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with your host, Rosalind Sedaka. Join Rosalind each week on a journey toward overcoming life's many challenges to achieve peace, empowerment, and positive transformation. It's time to relax, unwind, and transform your life with Rosalind Sedaka.
Hello, everybody. This is Amy Sherman. I'm with WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. And I am a licensed mental health counselor and co-host to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living show. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am going to talk today about common dating challenges for women over 40. I figured this is a good topic to talk about because I hear so much from my clients about how do you get back into the dating scene after divorce, after you are a widow, after you have been out of the dating scene for quite a while. So women over 40 have a lot of challenges because life is not the same as it used to be when you were, 18, 19, 20 years old and dating. So anybody who's getting back into the dating world will find that they do encounter many challenges. Things have changed. As I said, things are not as carefree and as simple as it used to be. So what we're going to talk about today are a few of the most important common concerns that women over 40 have when they enter the dating world. So let's get started. I have a few questions that I'm going to answer in today's program, and I hope that it covers some of the issues that you may have in this topic. The first question that I hear so often from the women who are mature and out of the dating scene for a little while, they say to me, I am not a size 4 anymore. Will anyone find me attractive? And that is so common because so many women, and men as well, but so many women are insecure about the way they look. There's a lot of competition out there. Obviously, there are younger people, thinner people, taller people, prettier people out in the world. And, you kind of lose your confidence. And what you need to do is do the inner work. So before you start dating, think about what do I need to work on about myself so that I will feel a little more confident and comfortable with myself. Remember, there are many women who are not strikingly beautiful, and there are many women who are not long and lean, and yet they are in relationships, long-term relationships. So what you need to look at is how can I become more confident, present myself in a healthier way. Basically, what you need to do is present yourself as someone who is deserving to be in a healthy, nurturing relationship. You need to stop wasting time worrying about looking different and start being different. And that's the key word, start being different. So you don't want to present yourself as someone who's insecure and has no confidence in yourself, but rather somebody who is confident, somebody who radiates the essence of basically who you really are, and show that you could start attracting that desirable man in your life to have a real, strong, healthy, compassionate, loving relationship, which is what you deserve. So don't worry about if you're not a size 4, even if you're a size 20, it does not matter. If you exude that kind of positive energy about yourself, if you exude that feeling that, you know what, I'm a terrific person and anybody will be lucky to be in a relationship with me. If that's the way you approach dating, then don't worry about it. You will be okay out there. Another question I get from women who are over 40 is, how do I meet a single guy my age range? And the answer to that is very simple. You basically have to put yourself out there, especially going to places that interest you. So, for instance, take adult education classes if you're interested in learning something new. Go to sporting events if you like tennis, if you like baseball or hockey, swimming meets, things like that. Go to bookstores where you could peruse the aisles and you'll meet other people who like to read books. Join a political organization if you're into politics. Go to the gym so you can keep yourself fit and trim, but there's also a lot of like-minded people there who are single, who are interested in meeting other people who are interested in being fit and trim. Join a garden club. You could go hiking and join a club that likes to hike and do nature things. What about wine tasting groups? You could join a local meetups. If you're familiar with a meetup is, just go to meetup.com, and there's tons of different organizations. And some of them are just very simply, and they don't have to be a singles group. It could just be a group that enjoys intellectual discussions or political discussions, and you'll meet a lot of like-minded people there. Go on any kind of outings. Learn a new skill, like if you want to learn to play the piano or hone your computer skills, learn how to play the guitar. Join groups that will teach you, get some extra learning, and hone your organic gardening, which is always wonderful because you'll meet people who enjoy the outdoors. So it goes on and on and on. And I'm sure if you really thought about it, you will come up with something and some places that would interest you, and you'd feel confident being there and, of course, enjoy yourself being there. So basically, you're meeting people who have the same interest as you. Be sure you make eye contact. Be sure you smile when you go to these groups. Show that you are interested in starting a conversation. You could show that you're interested in what's going on. So you could always ask questions, some kind of help if you need it from somebody who's at these different kind of groups. Be sure you paraphrase what you hear so you're sure to be hearing things correctly. Watch your body language. Make sure it's open and receptive. And what that means is don't talk to somebody with your arms crossed because that means closure and you're not receptive to them. Remember, if you are talking to somebody and nothing happens in a romantic way, that's okay because at least you are meeting somebody, you're getting out there, and you're socializing, honing your skills, which is very, very important. So where do you go to meet somebody? You have to make the first step. Don't wait for something or someone to knock on your door, but rather get out there, join things, get involved in your community, and you will, when you least expect it sometimes, meet somebody. Another question that I get is sometimes it's hard to get past that first date. If you are interested in somebody and then they don't call you after the first date, you could ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? And you may be actually doing stuff wrong. So I want to give you some inkling and some insight into what perhaps you may be doing wrong. So think about this. Are you coming across as being too needy or desperate? And that's interesting because sometimes we don't even realize that our body language or even the questions we ask or the comments we make, sometimes, always apologizing for yourself, will seem like you're a little insecure and not really confident in yourself. And it will cause your partner to find you a little more unappealing and perhaps intimidating even, so they won't call back. Also ask yourself, are you talking too much? If you're on a first date and you keep yapping away, not giving the other person a chance to respond, that may be unattractive as well, and maybe that's why they're not calling you back. As a woman, do you wind up paying for yourself on the first date? There are many guys who prefer to pay for the drinks or the dinner on the first date, and maybe a few after that. That may be keeping the guy from calling you back. Are you perhaps picking people who just aren't right for you? Maybe you're looking at a certain type that is not what you should be looking for, so maybe you need to step out of your box a little and look for a different type of person. Are you sending negative vibes about what you don't like about him? Maybe you're not crazy about the way he wears his hair, so your body language is indicating that you're not too happy with the way he looks. Is your voice tone or your body language cold and standoffish? Again, that's something to look at because often we don't even realize how we're presenting ourselves. So be sure you are aware of how you are standing, how you are sitting, if you are leaning in, showing interest in the conversation, or are you sitting, leaning back with your arms crossed, legs crossed, a little more closed so you're not looking receptive. Ask yourself, are you overstepping healthy boundaries or even verbal boundaries without realizing it? In other words, are you asking maybe too many intimate questions that makes the person feel uncomfortable? Perhaps you're sharing too much about yourself and not leaving anything in your date's imagination. If you are on the first date and you're telling them all about your life history and your parents and your family and everything, and it may be too overwhelming to them, and maybe they feel that I don't want to get to know her. I already know enough about her. Are you maybe too negative, too cynical, too sarcastic about dating, and maybe you're relaying that in your conversations with your partner? So these are kind of questions you could ask yourself to see if perhaps you may be doing something wrong that is keeping your partner from asking you out on a second date. These are challenges that all women of all ages, and even men of all ages, but especially women over 40 who are challenged because they haven't been dating in so long, may find that they're caught up in some of these criteria. So I want you to be aware of it. We're going to take a little break right now. This is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and I'm Amy Sherman, licensed mental health counselor on the Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living show.
You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
It's Amy Sherman again with WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We're on the Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living show, and I'm talking today about common dating challenges for women over 40. I'm answering some questions that I have heard from many women that kind of lends itself to being a little problematic for them because they're having trouble getting back into the old dating realm. One other very important question, because chances are a woman after 40, she's either a widow or she is divorced. So the question I get asked is, how long should you wait after you're divorced before you get back into dating? Well, this is a terrific question because it's confusing for a lot of people. You're aware of all the strong negative feelings that you have about your ex and maybe the insecurities and anxiety within yourself that kind of lingers after a divorce. So it's real important to give yourself time to process all that you've experienced. So certainly if you got divorced last week, don't go out dating yet. You have to really acknowledge what you've been through, kind of face the fears that you may have, get help if you need to, see a coach or a therapist. And when it feels right, and you'll know that, you'll get back into the dating mode. So the question now to ask yourself is, when do I know I'm ready? And if you could say that you're feeling comfortable with who you are and where you're at, then maybe you're at that place where you can get back into the dating field. In other words, you don't want to date too soon after your divorce if you're still harboring any resentments and any anger, because that's only going to sabotage any new relationship that you have future. So basically do the inner work, and you learn how to leave the baggage behind you. How do you leave the baggage behind you? You have to confront some of the issues that you may have had, some of the anger that you had. Talking to somebody, journaling perhaps will be helpful. Doing any of the processes that would help you leave some of that baggage behind you. Because once that's done, it paves the way for a healthier, more fulfilling relationship ahead for you. If you don't handle the issues that affected your past choices, some of the behaviors that you've done, and the beliefs that you've had, you're really likely to repeat them. And you're going to do this subconsciously in your new relationship. So you really want to not date too soon. You know what being on the rebound is. It's dating right after the relationship has ended. And inevitably, as I said before, it leads to another failed relationship and often depression for you. So take the time to discover the lessons, and this is so, so very important, the lessons that you've learned from your divorce. What part did you play in the breakup? What signals weren't you picking up all along in the relationship that you kind of ignored? What can you have done differently to support and empower yourself? How can you have behaved differently during the time you were married so that maybe you could have changed things in the relationship? So without these answers, without these insights, you're bound to make similar mistakes next relationship over and over and over again, and you don't want to waste any years with bad relationships again. You want to meet somebody who's really the best possible relationship you could have after your divorce. So the time that you spend on yourself preparing you for the challenges you're going to experience while dating is very important. So things like questioning yourself, what's it going to be like if I'm intimate again? What's it going to be like feeling vulnerable again? What is it going to be like sharing my life again with somebody new? I was married for 20 years and now I'm not, and now I have to start all over again. So you have to ask yourself these questions before you start dating again. Are you feeling clear, and are you feeling complete regarding your divorce? Are you emotionally comfortable and ready to move on? Did you learn the lessons you need to learn so that you really don't repeat it over and over and over again? Dating is not going to resolve any anger or conflicts or insecurities that you have. The only thing that's going to change that or even resolve that is doing the inner work before you get out into the dating world. So no matter how long it takes you, don't go into dating unless you are really ready, and that's the key to waiting. Just wait and wait until you feel I am comfortable with myself and I'm comfortable with where I am now so that I can go out and feel like I am going to be a good partner to somebody else and not make the same mistakes that I made before. Now, here's another question that I get, especially for people over 40 who've had relationships, who are not in a relationship now. They ask me, how do I make my new relationship last? And that, again, is a very important question because we don't want to make the same mistakes. So we know that relationships are not always easy, and sometimes they really do take a lot of hard work. But, of course, it's worth it. And being in a long-term, committed, healthy relationship is very fulfilling. It's satisfying. It really is good for your health, and it makes you feel so happy. So, obviously, we all want to be in a healthy relationship. So when you meet somebody new and you think he may be the one, you want to make sure the relationship lasts. So I'm going to just list a few things to think about in your new relationship so that perhaps it will be different and better than the last one. So as a couple, you have to realize that it's not always about your agenda. So be very important. Be aware of how flexible you are, how understanding you are, and how willing you are to see your partner's perspective on things. If you had trouble with that in your old relationship, then this is what you need to work on now. After all, compromise, fair fighting, and win-win outcomes really make a relationship last. Since no one walks away feeling insignificant, and that's what you want in a relationship. Nobody wants to feel insignificant, unimportant, and unheard. So keep the communication open, and you be the one to make sure you're doing that. Give more than you take. Very important also, and especially do this if you feel the issue is not, worth an argument. So give in a little. It may be worth it. So remember always, relationship that you're in is not always your agenda. You have to be very flexible and compromise. Very important to keep a relationship healthy and to last. Another thing, you keep the romance alive. Surprise your partner with a special note, a gift, or even a sweet gesture. You get a lot of brownie points just for being thoughtful, and the excitement and pleasure you're going to bring to your honey is going to keep you connected on a deeper emotional, spiritual level. So it doesn't hurt to be romantic. It's a wonderful thing. Also, find common interests because sharing your life together is really valuable for a healthy relationship. So it's a lot more fun to go to tennis matches if you're both interested in tennis. And it's wonderful to go kayaking with somebody if you both share that adventurous nature. So it doesn't mean you can't do things alone. What it means is that you have enough interests that you could do things together because it's very special for both of you to share these common interests. So just to recap, how do you make a new relationship last? Well, you have to allow each other the ability to be who you both are and who also you can be. And, of course, be flexible enough to step out of your box to explore and compromise what somebody else thinks about or is interested in. What really matters in a good relationship is that you both experience a secure, harmonious, give-and-take relationship. And, of course, it's great if your partner understands this as well. But cooperation, and here are the keys, cooperation, negotiation, adaptation, and conciliation are all essential tools for keeping the relationship healthy and long-lasting. So I just gave you about 5 tips on some of the challenges that women who are over 40 may experience with dating. And I hope you've gotten some good information about this. And if you need any further information, you could reach me on amybethsherman@gmail.com. You could also call me at 561-281-2975. I'm working on a new website, amyshermancoaching.com. It is not complete yet, but you could kind of peruse what you can with it. If you need any further information, I'm going to sign off now. I hope you enjoyed the information that I did give you today, and please join us again. This is Amy Sherman, licensed mental health counselor and dating and relationship coach. I'm with WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, and this is a divorce, dating, and empowered living show. Bye now.